You know, there's an invisible erosion happening right now inside all of our skulls. It's a decay, but not of tissue. It's a decay of will. A slow, quiet hollowing out of the very thing that makes us who we are, our ability to choose.
It really all starts with this. This is a warning from the US Surgeon General, and I want you to really read that. This isn't some poetic metaphor. It's a diagnosis. We're literally being told that the feeling we call loneliness is a full-blown public health crisis, and it has a measurable body count.
And if you need proof, well, here it is. This just lays out the scale of the threat in the starkest terms possible. Look at this data. Lacking social connection isn't just a risk factor, it is a greater predictor of an early death than obesity, not getting enough exercise, or even breathing polluted air. The data is just crystal clear. Isolation is a physiological poison.
And it's a poison that's spreading like wildfire. Get this, even before the pandemic forced everyone apart, roughly half of all American adults said they were experiencing loneliness. So this isn't some niche problem affecting a few people. It's an epidemic, and it's hiding in plain sight.
But see, this isn't just a crisis of feeling sad or feeling lonely. To really get why this poison is so effective, we have to understand the biological system it's attacking. For millions of years, our survival as a species has depended on being part of a group. Our brains literally evolved to be social organs, hyper-aware of social cues, built to work with others. Connection isn't some optional feature we enjoy, like an app you can download. No, it's a core part of our operating system. It's a biological imperative, as essential as food or water.
So, what happens when a fundamental biological need like that goes unmet? Well, the body doesn't just feel bad. It begins to physically break down. And the very first thing to start breaking down, it's the command center itself, the brain.
There's actually a term for this process, neural decay. And I want you to let that sink in. It's the physical, measurable degradation of the brain's actual structure. So chronic isolation doesn't just make you sad, it literally rewires your mind. It changes how you think, how you react, and ultimately how you decide.
And the damage is disturbingly specific. The prefrontal cortex, that's the part of your brain responsible for rational thought, for complex decision-making, it starts to falter. And at the exact same time, the amygdala, which is your fear center, goes into overdrive. So what's the result? Well, you become worse at making good judgments, while at the same time seeing threats absolutely everywhere.
You can see how this creates a kind of psychological prison, with your decision-making abilities impaired and your fear response cranked up to 11, your thinking becomes rigid. You get stuck in these negative feedback loops, these thought patterns that make it harder and harder to adapt, to solve problems, or to even imagine that things could be different.
And this physical decay of the brain, this neural decay, it leads directly to the psychological decay of the self. It leads to the erosion of our autonomy.
There's a really powerful way to understand this, and it's called self-determination theory. It's pretty straightforward. It basically says that for a person to be psychologically healthy, they need 3 universal things: to feel competent at what they do, to feel connected to other people, that's relatedness, and crucially, to feel like they are in control of their own life, and that's autonomy.
Now here's the kicker. These 3 needs are all connected. They're like the 3 legs of a stool. If you systematically deny one of them, in this case, relatedness through social isolation, the whole thing starts to wobble. And specifically, our sense of autonomy, that feeling that we are the author of our own story, it just starts to dissolve.
And this chart really shows you the before and after. A healthy mind operates on what's called autonomous regulation. We act based on our own internal values, our own interests. But the isolated mind, it shifts to something called alienated regulation. Our behavior stops being driven from within. Instead, it's driven by external pressures, the hunt for approval, the fear of punishment, the promise of some reward. Our whole center of control shifts from inside us to outside us.
And it's at this exact moment of vulnerability, right when our internal compass is broken, that we become incredibly susceptible to external forces. Forces designed specifically to guide us.
This is the science of choice architecture. It's the deliberate design of the environments where we make all our decisions. And its founding principle is simple but profound. There is no such thing as a neutral design. The way options are framed, the order they're shown to you, the defaults that are already selected, every single detail is designed to nudge your behavior in one direction or another.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The illusion of choice. See, a person whose autonomy has already been worn down by loneliness is the perfect subject for this kind of management.
They are given the feeling of freedom, the illusion that they're choosing, while their behavior is being quietly and efficiently steered from behind the scenes.
And of course, today, the most sophisticated choice architecture in human history is digital. Predictive algorithms are literally designed to create dopamine-fueled addictions. Echo chambers wall us off and reinforce our biases until we can't see any other point of view. Our very behavior is extracted, analyzed, and used to shape what we do next. It is a system that is perfectly designed to prey on a brain that's already weakened by isolation.
And let's be crystal clear about something. We have moved way past simple prediction. The goal of this vast digital architecture isn't just to guess what you might want to buy. The goal is to modify your behavior, to guarantee a commercial outcome.
So when you put all of these pieces together, the biology, the psychology, the technology, you arrive at a deeply, deeply unsettling conclusion. The logic is just inescapable. Step 1, social isolation physically damages the brain. Step 2, that physical brain damage weakens our psychological sense of self-control. And step 3, that weakened self is then set adrift in a world of invisible architecture designed to steer it.
Which of course brings us to the final critical question. And it's a question you have to ask yourself. In this environment, when you make a choice, any choice, what to buy, what to believe, who to get angry at, is that decision really, truly yours?
Or is it possible that what feels like your own free will is actually just an echo, the perfectly timed response to a perfectly crafted nudge delivered by an algorithm whispering to a part of you that is no longer fully in control?